Hello. Hola. Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. Hello. Welcome to week 4. Already. Weird. Today we're gonna be making some baking powder biscuits. Doesn't sound very appealing, but I promise they're just like your regular biscuits that you would get like at Tim Hortons, or like I guess with like a chili or something you could dip. It's very versatile. It's a very blank canvas for like whatever you want to do. You could turn it into little sandwiches or little canapes if you're fancy and you do like a little tea like gathering or something. You could turn it into like tiny little bites, like biscuit bites. But today we're making like the regular kind of round biscuits. And this recipe is so easy, like it'll probably take us like 15 minutes, but it's good foundational stuff, especially if you want it to be kind of tender and buttery. You have to get the foundation down. I know these recipes that we've been doing in the last few weeks, they're not like the most exciting, but they're very necessary. Like you need to understand foundational baking in order to do anything more complicated, because otherwise your recipes will not make sense. You know what I mean? Like it's like I started doing singing lessons, or I'm starting to do singing lessons, and I've done a few in the past, but I have no knowledge of like technical singing. So I need to start with the foundation and understand what an octave is, and understand how vocal cords work in order to understand how my own works, right? Like you can apply that to anything you do. So that's why we're making these biscuits. And for this recipe, you'll need buttermilk. I do not have buttermilk. Like, that's not an ingredient I carry at home. I don't think that's an ingredient most people carry at home, but most people can make it at home. I've made it already because I wasn't, truth be told, I've never done it at home, okay? I had to look on the internet because it becomes your best friend when you don't know what to do. And for your buttermilk here, I used a cup of room temperature milk. You can put it in the microwave if it's cold. And then you put about a tablespoon, I eyeballed it, of lemon juice. That's one way of doing it. I also saw online you can do sour cream if you use, because basically what buttermilk is the process of turning milk like a little sour. It's like a sour milk. Like, and here with the lemon, it curdles, right? And that's what you want. It'll make it kind of thicker. It will act as buttermilk. I'm actually really curious about what it tastes like. I don't think I've ever had buttermilk, just like... Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just kind of like yogurt-like flavor. Oh, and you let it stand for about 5-10 minutes until it curdles, and then I just mixed it up to kind of emulsify. You can also use, like I said, sour cream, and you dilute it a little bit with milk, or just straight up buy buttermilk. But let's get started. Very easy recipe. For your mise en place, you want your baking trays ready. Here I have 2. Your oven at about 420 degrees Fahrenheit, about 220 Celsius. Your cutter, in this recipe it says 2 1/4 inch, and you go from under, not the top where you press, because the top where you press has like a lip. So you go from under 2 1/4. Oh, this is 3/4. Oh, it might be. Any cutter will do, to be honest. Like, oh, this one. So teeny weeny. So, without further ado, let's get started and make some biscuits. as usual, we're gonna start by measuring our dry ingredients and sifting them. Very important. My last recipe last week that we did the muffins and the loaf, I did end up going to my neighbors and I was like, I made you some goodies. And then I got back home, had a bite of the muffin, and then there was a crunch in my mouth, and I was like,
What is that?
pick it out. It was a piece of plastic. Like, that's why it's so important to sift all your dry ingredients. I hadn't sifted my sugar, and when I went to investigate my sugar, well, I had used in the past a plastic like bowl to scoop out the sugar so it's easier, and that plastic had broken and pieces were in the sugar. Didn't sift my sugar, and now it was in my muffins, and so I was paranoid all day about whether or not they had plastic in theirs, and then I was scared that they thought I. So just sift your stuff. Start with our flour, 405 grams, and this makes about 15 scones or biscuits. Make sure you replenish this after. If it's empty, always be a good baker. Replenish your low stuff, always. Kind of do your inventory at the end. Because next time you'll just be more frustrated. Or, you know, if it's empty and you're like, oh, I could bake today. And then you open your pantry and you're like, oh, never mind. That's one more step you don't have to do next time. Just do it now. I had little dried pieces of flour. Our sugar, 32 grams, so not a very sweet recipe. That's why it's such a good canvas, because it's just kind of like a buttery canvas. And then we put our salt, 6 grams. Baking powder, 27 grams. It'll give it the nice rise. I love baking, honestly. I feel like a chemist. That's why I call myself the alchemist. And I think in life in general, I like energies. I like to understand the world from different perspectives. So it's kind of like the alchemist is my persona. So it works. I believe that putting your energy in here changes the batter, so, or the dough. So like I 100% believe that alchemy is baking. Okay, so that's it. That's our dry ingredients. Easy peasy. Now we're gonna cut our butter. We want our butter cold, okay? Very cold, because like the scones, butter will give us the flakiness, the buttery sensation. And if it's too warm or even melted, you're changing the structure of butter. So keep it cold. Mine's in the freezer. Put it in the freezer because by the time you cut it, you play with it, it will just kind of become warmer. So I want to increase my chances of having the best biscuit that I could make. 135. 1 brick of butter is 454. Okay, that's a number that's really easy to remember. Once you know it, you can kind of gauge if it's 400. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be a little more than like a quarter. Try this. 142. I'm not even gonna bother putting back like a nugget because what even is the point? Little butter. Who said that? Martha Stewart? You can never have enough butter. Something like that. We're gonna cut this into cubes. You want like relatively similar chunks. This is probably the most tedious part of this recipe, is cutting the butter. But this is something you can do literally like on a Sunday morning. You want something fresh that takes like 15 minutes. That's that one. And it elevates your meal like no joke. It just makes it, like if you have a cup of chili or you have a soup, then it just makes it better. It's nice to have fresh bread. Like that's why it's a quick bread. It's just so quick. I'm gonna give this a little stir so that not all my baking powder is in the same place. We want everything to be kind of together. Okay, we're gonna add our butter. And the goal here is that it resembles course meal. If you don't know what course meal is, here I'm just kind of breaking up the butter slightly. If there's anything that you want to see on this channel, just let me know. I always take suggestions for my after class videos. Actually today I'm also gonna make granola bars for my after class video. The goal here is to kind of break the butter so much that almost every bite will have particles. Like every bite should have butter, right, coated in it. So whereas scones, you want larger chunk of butter a little bit. Here you want more coarse meal, you want a more uniform dough. Pastry cutter would cut it much faster than a fork. But also I'm starting to break a sweat, so you know what? It's working. Good for the body, the mind, and the soul. Let me show you where we're at right now. There's still some big lumps like this, like a little bit. So let's keep breaking it apart. Also getting a sleeve soon, so I might start to look different. I'm getting actually an alchemist sleeve to kind of honor that part of me. I think it's important to have a reminder of who you are. And for me, it's like tattoo wise, right? I love it. So I guess if you're doing this by hand, this will be your longest part of the process. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, it's grainy like this, but fine, right? You can feel the butter lumps, but they're tiny lumps, and that's what you want. I'm gonna put this in the freezer. I'm gonna give a quick wipe here, always clean as you go. This is something that I am very strict about. It just keeps your mind organized, I think. To have a clean space keeps everything else from cluttering or blurring, and yeah, just clean as you go. Now we're gonna take our buttermilk. I actually need less than what I have here. 215 grams. then 1 egg. These are from the chicken. So buttermilk and egg together. Ooh, the yolk is so yellow, I love it. So our biscuits are gonna be a little bit yellow, but depends on your yolk. It looks like a really good like smoothie or something. I wouldn't drink it though. Raw eggs and buttermilk. Okay. The next step we're gonna take back our flour mix with the butter. We'll mix this in. We'll mix it only to the point where it's combined, where a dough forms, but do not overmix because we're still rolling it, and that will work it even more. And as soon as you overmix like something with butter like this, you're gonna get rid of all the work you just put in. So we're just gonna mix it gently, but also like efficiently, because the more time you waste just mixing, you're wasting time. Butter is melting, so you just dump, swish, put it on here, and we're gonna roll it, cut it, put it in the oven. Wasn't in the freezer very long, but long enough that it's not like melting. Here you have it. If you have a mixer, just put it until it's incorporated. You're not gonna mess around too much. Just until it's incorporated and a nice dough's forming. So I could have used a bigger bowl. I always do that. Use the right tools, always. Okay, I'm okay with this. Bit of flour, put it on here. I'm gonna try not to knead it too much but enough that it's like together. Okay. Like this. Like I said, if you have guide, use your guide. If you don't, that's okay. Rolling pin. The purpose of the guide is that you roll your rolling pin on it and it keeps the dough uniform, but I don't want them as thick as this, so that's why it's a little useless. You want them about half an inch in thickness. Be gentle. I think that's pretty good. It's about a pinky everywhere. I'm gonna send the dough where it needs to be sent if it's not quite. And see, this side's a little thicker, like this. You can feel when it's thicker. Okay, we're pretty much there. Take your cutter, flour. Now, what's important is cut as close as you can to the edge. We don't want, like, once we use all of it, we don't want to re-knead it because it's not going to give you that nice biscuit texture. So we're going to try as much as we can to get it in the first go. And you just go straight down, no turning, straight down. Before baking school, I had never made like quick bread like this. So this was an interesting unit for me because those are things I've never even attempted. They're actually quite easy. So this is all I can get from this dough. So instead of kneading it, we're just gonna kind of attach it together. I'm trying to make something else. Okay. You want to try to avoid touching it as much as you can. And that's why you kind of want like a floured surface so it's easy. Pick up, leave about an inch and a half in between. You want space and air to circulate around, and then you can have a nice expansion. Just for now, while I'm doing these ones, I'm gonna put these in the freezer to rest. Because the more rest time, the better, to be honest. Like, I would say 15 minutes if you can. It will just allow the dough to kind of really be like, I'm chill. And then they go in the oven and they're like, yay, I'll do my job and just rise. The purpose of resting the dough in the freezer is because we've worked the dough now, right? Like, the dough has been played with, cut, like, so the dough will naturally want to shrink because we've like expanded it, but naturally the gluten strand will want to. So putting it in the freezer will allow that shrinking process to happen quickly, and with 10 minutes the dough will rest and kind of like just relax. The gluten strand will be like, yeah, it's like a cold jacuzzi, if you will. Well, these don't need to be so perfect because they're the ugly ones. Not that any of them are ugly, but you know. This unfortunately will be waste. Oh, never mind, it's not gonna be waste. I'm gonna bake it and give it to the chicken. Just kind of gonna put it like awkwardly, like on here. And the second thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make our little egg wash so that our biscuit can have a nice golden color to them. You could also use milk, like a milk wash. You won't get that nice golden color, but it will give you some sort of color. You could keep them as they are, but I'm gonna do an egg wash. Simply an egg, a little bit of salt in mine. We're gonna whisk it, and then you have a few choices. If you don't have any brush at home, use your finger. Use a piece of like scut towel, like a paper towel. You can dip it, kind of slosh it around. You can use your hands, but people get weirded out with eggs, so up to you. We were given like paintbrushes. They came with our kits. These ones I think I bought at like Canadian Tire or like Home Depot, one of those renovation store. They're not my favorite. They were good, but sometimes hair can get stuck to your product, so you have to like be reminded of that. Like if you see a hair, like take it off. So that's why like already I don't like it, because it's one more thing that I have to worry about. I was using this one, which is a silicone one. The bristle, there's not as many, so when you put it on, it tends to kind of just want to like leach instead of like putting it on nicely like a paint that you would. But in pastry school, I had this one teacher that every time he saw me use this, he was like, no. So really, it's up to you. My preference is a silicone. It's also much easier to clean. This one can get really funky, like if you don't wash it properly with soap, hot water, and like this one smells fine, but it has happened during baking class where I took my paintbrush and it's like funk, and I'm like, yeah, I guess dealer's choice for the paint. So I'm just gonna brush the top. You could put spices as well if you're wanting to. Touch of color, you can put paprika. If you want them just plain, keep them plain. Let's put some chili on there, just like here. Don't touch your eyes. Okay, and then we're gonna shove that in the oven for about 15 minutes. We're gonna do 10 minutes, rotate, put another 5, and see from there. Always make a little prayer, tell them good night, tell them have a good nap. Whew. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. That's your biscuits. Okay, let's see what we can tell from our bake today. So color is beautiful, gorgeous. The under is also well baked. There's a nice rise that happened. This one is fairly flat, like in terms of how it rose. If I take this one has kind of a lopside to it. A few reasons that could have happened. Perhaps when I cut it, I kind of went like this a little bit. Maybe even when we lifted it up, it kind of got distorted or just not rested long enough. So, I mean, it's still good, right? But if we're looking at the two, there's kind of a difference. This one's more uniform, round. This one's a little... Let's break it open. Okay. Very tender. You can see you can tell there's layers of butter. Like, it's nice. It just fell apart very easily. It's what you want out of a good biscuit, because there's nothing worse than a dry biscuit. Like, you kind of eat it and it's just like eating drywall. So it falling apart like this is a really good sign. Let's see. Now I want some. Sorry. I'm gonna put butter on this. Thanks for staying. Thanks for watching. You can like, subscribe, whatever you want. If you're just a one and done, that's good too. Yeah, till next time.